We did?
Okay. Yes, here we are. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good
Morning,
morning.
morning.
Thank you. It's February 8th now. It is a gorgeous day by me. I don't know about what you guys. Is it beautiful where you are?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. It feels like spring's coming.
It
It
does.
does.
It feels, yeah, I'm feeling a little hopeful today, a little springy. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Listen, we have a lot of people who are now joining us. We have a lot of first timers joining us. So I want to kind of address them and reintroduce ourselves. My name is David Rendelstein. I am the owner of FinTech Weight Loss. And this is my wonderful staff. We have Jackie, Corinne, Trish, what's her name, and Jen. Thea.
You're in the dark.
Thea and Jen. So I just want to reintroduce ourselves and why we're doing this. Like if you're coming across us, good morning, everyone, by the way,
Good
for
morning.
the first time, or you've forgotten why we're here and what we're doing. Basically, this started out because when the pandemic started, we began to do meetings every morning at 9:30 a.m. And we noticed that in the beginning of our meeting, it basically turned into like a wine session. And I don't know who came up with the idea first. I think it might have been you, Jackie. But, the idea was like, well, if we're going to whine anyway, if we're going to commiserate, why don't we commiserate publicly?
Let's bring people into it.
Let's bring people into our misery, right? So that's what we decided
Misery
to
loves
do.
company.
Like Maria. Maria loves to commiserate with people.
Morning.
So-
Morning, Maria.
But do you remember the first time we did this, Dr. R? All the women put on their makeup. We found a reason to get dressed. And we were excited to do it.
You
I think
needed
that
the
was
excuse. Yeah,
I think
you
that was
needed.
my hidden intention, and then slowly we've all gotten really comfortable.
No
Hey,
makeup here.
Elizabeth.
It's like once a month I do my hair for this.
So it's kind of evolved what we do now, right? Now we choose topics, we have inspirational moments, we give wonderful recipes, and I think that people are really starting to catch on. But the purpose of us doing this is basically our purpose and our mission in our business. And we always want to create happy, healthy, hopeful people who have achieved their ideal weight and health status and have renewed zest for life. So that's why we do this. If you're wondering what is this crazy group of people doing coming to me at 9:30 whether I want them to or not, this is what we're doing. There's another point I want to make, which is this. We have a couple of audiences. We have the audience who joins us, kind of they're planning on it, right? This has become appointment viewing for some people. And then we have the audience who watches us later on video. Now, when I first started doing this, I was told by a professional, yes, I have consultants, and that's why we have such great production
We're
values
getting so
here, et cetera.
fancy here.
Yes, I was told by a professional, the first few minutes when you go live, nobody's on anyway. So you're just supposed to like BS and do kind of fluff. So that's what we do. My hope is that we're not going to lose people. And my promise is that we will always get to some useful content. So if you're watching this and you're like, I don't need to hear this stuff. I came for a particular reason and damn it, get to it. Well, you're welcome to fast forward a little bit if you're watching this on video.
Mhm.
Okay. And for the rest of you, you're just going to have to grin and bear it. Right? Does that sound fair?
Do then is
What'd you say, Jen?
what we really should do then is go live but keep talking and then do the introduction because all the good stuff happens before the camera goes on.
Yeah, we've thought about that and we've thought about hitting cameras, but
And by good,
certainly
and by
people
good,
would be
none of it is
offended.
good. None of it is
Yeah.
actually good. It's
I
not.
don't know that would be good.
I don't think so.
All right, so let's get into it. There's an awful lot happening right now. Like I said, there's good news going on out there. We're having, kids are going to be able to go to school again in New Jersey without wearing their masks, which I believe is a very good thing. It turns out that immunity lasts longer than was first thought. We have a day today, it's going to be 47 degrees, so there are hints of spring. The Olympics are on right now. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was amazing. The men yesterday did their short programs, and it wasn't like people were flopping around like usual. I mean, everyone was landing and hitting it. So there's some good stuff happening. So without further ado, let's get right to our inspirational moment with Jen. Jen, do you have a testimonial for us today?
I do. You're going to have to bear with me because it's very tiny. So I'm going to have to kind of take myself off camera and read. Thank you. So
Thank
what
you.
I just want to preface this. So we are FinTech, but we use the Nutrimost technology, the Nutrimost program. So whenever I'm reading a testimonial and somebody says Nutrimost program, I don't want people to get confused. I want them to understand that that is us. We are, like, as I said, FinTech. Our business is FinTech, but we use the Nutrimost technology. So that being said, this is a testimonial from Teresa, who said, about 4 years ago, I was introduced to the Nutrimost program and found such a positive and supportive group in doing so. Their advice and understanding of my struggles at that time with weight gain and their knowledge on how to get healthy led me to successfully lose my weight, and I was a new me. Then I could say life got in the way. And I know I'm a stress eater, and well, everything turned upside down, and I found myself back to where I started 4 years ago. I am someone who always focuses on taking care of everyone else first before me. The problem was every time I did that, it would affect my own health, and ultimately I found my physical and mental health was deteriorating. I felt stuck, disappointed, stressed, lack of energy, focus, and know that I was existing and not living my best healthy life. I also saw other family members and friends having health issues, and I was stressing that if I didn't focus my mind and path back to where I was 4 years ago and make the decision to put myself first, that I may not be around for my friends and family in the future. I had to remind myself that although life throws us many challenges, I needed to be grateful, live, and live and love myself.
Why?
Sorry, and enough to commit to the program and love my goodness, and give me the best healthy version of myself. So my journey began again, and I couldn't be more thankful for the constant support and guidance of Jen and Dr. R and the rest of the staff. I know, how well choosing this healthy lifestyle works in making me feel great about my success and journey and finding my way back. I am healthy, halfway there, and motivated to continue choosing my health first. Thank you. Sorry, guys. Like I said, it's really tiny. So,
Well, you know what? From now on, we have to have a rule. People are not allowed to write their testimonials in cursive. They have to print them in block letters, and so we can.
We
then
got
read
lines
them.
on the
Yeah.
page.
it's
Lines
so
on the
small.
Got it.
So
Who was that, by the way, Jen?
that was Teresa, one of the sisters. I read her sister's testimony.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and
Um,
we have people here like Maria, for example, saying, "My God, that's me." So people are obviously relating to it. What
yeah.
did you guys? What stood out about that particular testimonial to you guys?
Everyone first.
Her determination,
Mhm.
her recognizing that she had gotten to a point where she couldn't do things on her own. She couldn't get healthy on her own, and she reached out. So, she pushed past all of the whys not to and embraced the why tos instead.
Mm. Yeah, it reminds me of an expression. Someone once said, "Persistence alone is omnipotent." And it's true. Sometimes we get so focused on the barriers that we forget the end goal. We ask ourselves, well, what if it doesn't work? And then we don't participate in it with 100% conviction, as opposed to asking ourselves, what if it does work?
Oh my dear, what if it does? But what if you fly?
What if you fly?
What if you fly? Exactly. You might fly.
Mhm.
Well,
and certainly-
I think it's also true that when any of us start this program, we live in fear. Like, can we do this? Can we be successful? And at the end of it, we realized because, like myself too, I didn't think I could do it. And at the end of it, with everybody's support between you and Jen and Jackie at the time, it was amazing. I was like, what am I doing? Like, I can do this and I can keep going, and that's why we have such a great staff.
And that's why a team is necessary because, as Jackie's always saying, teamwork makes the.
Dreamwork.
There you go.
Where did we get that from?
I thought Jackie made it up. I don't know.
I know, but I'm mantra. I think I say it daily.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's from swim all the time, and the other one is last one, best one.
And there's no I in team. All right,
Exactly.
now that we got all of our cliches out of the way, hey, we have the Super Bowl coming up, Jackie. We also have Valentine's Day. I told you there's a lot going on right now.
going
Now,
on.
the Super Bowl, as everyone knows, is dedicated to love,
Mhm.
and Valentine's Day is dedicated to combat.
Yeah.
So we need some good recipes to get us through this time.
So everybody has to keep on a lookout too for their emails because this week they're getting a Valentine's Day menu and a Super Bowl Sunday menu. So
Nice.
usually for the holidays, I always send out like a prep of a couple of ideas of things that you can make, you could bring, so this way you don't feel inclined to eat bad food, especially if you're socializing with people, whatever the pressures are. Obviously, we have you covered. So you'll get 2 emails this week, so be on the lookout for both of them.
Just give us an example of what are some of the recipes that we could expect for Valentine's Day and Super Bowl Sunday.
Valentine's Day, I like to keep it simple, especially when it's like, obviously for the most part, my husband always likes a steak. So it's like a surf and turf concept.
Okay.
So you have that coming. And then there's a chocolate dessert. So I'll be sending that out. And then it's with chia seeds, which looks, actually, I'm going to try it myself. Looks really good.
Interesting.
Yep. And then for Super Bowl, we have the zucchini nachos.
Ooh, now we're talking.
It's a recipe that I'm actually going to give everybody today.
That sounds
I need a dip. I'm a dipper. I need a
Oh yeah, I think dips are very important for the Super Bowl. Can it be made in the crock pot?
well, I challenge you to attempt this recipe in the crock pot. I have my crock pot going now.
I would hope so. Okay, so what's today's recipe?
Today we are doing the keto paleo roasted cauliflower hummus.
Mm.
Wow,
And
that's a mouthful.
I read it over a couple of times and I was like, oh my God, this sounds so good. And I actually said to Dr. R, I'm going to attempt it to see if I could do this a version program approved. To see that right now it's clean. Obviously, this is most definitely better post program, but I think I could swing this on program somehow. I'm determined to figure it out. So let me read it to you. It is 4 cups of cauliflower florets, chopped and divided. You're going to use half a cup of extra virgin olive oil, half a cup of tahini. Now, for some people, tahini, if nobody doesn't know what that is, it's ground up sesame seeds. To some people, that could be a trigger. So we want to avoid that. So I actually found a couple of alternatives, but believe it or not, using almond and cashew butter, which is really cool. So now that's what started to get my wheels turning. So I'm determined to find this and make this on program.
Well, Jackie, presumably any kind of a nut butter could be used.
Absolutely. You could, but they said
Right.
that, the combination, what I was reading, the reason why they do not, you could use a peanut butter, macadamia nut butter. It's the richness. So you don't want to take away the roasted, that hearty feel. You don't want to get that salt. You don't want that salty taste.
Okay.
So that's why they prefer cashew butters. Lemon juice, pink salt, cumin, and paprika. And you're also using water to dilute. You're roasting it on a parchment paper. You could spray it with some avocado oil, cook it down, sprinkle that with your cumin, throw that into a food processor and blend it until the consistency you want. It's good for 5 days in the fridge.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's really easy. And my thing, we're huge on garlic in our house. I would most definitely triple this garlic. I would add some more red pepper. I would add red pepper to it, sprinkle the top with maybe pumpkin seeds. So I'm like, I have a couple of versions of this that are going to come out, I think.
I'm actually going to share my recipe for hummus now.
Is
So
it,
I'm going to tell you. What?
is it a
If you
crock
have a
pot?
hummus recipe, I'm going to fall over. Hold on.
I used to make hummus a lot. As you know, I've traveled extensively throughout the Middle East. I've come across wonderful hummus everywhere. I would say that my hummus, when I used to make it, ranked near the top of all the hummus I've had in Israel, Egypt, Jordan, and Philadelphia.
That's a big thing.
That's a big thing. Okay, so I'm going to tell everyone my secret. There's 2 ingredients that I add. Now, obviously, every hummus is going to have the chickpeas and it's going to have the tahini. I'm talking about traditional hummus.
Traditional, yeah.
Right. It's always going to have the lemon. It's always going to have the garlic. It's always going to have the olive oil. That's the basic. That's the foundation of hummus. Now, what I would do is add hot sauce and a little bit of honey.
oh,
And the
Oh,
reason is because the hot sauce gives it a little bit of a kick, and the honey kind of takes away from the sharpness of the tahini. Tahini can be sharp,
yeah.
and so the honey kind of mitigates that. So that is my secret. I am giving that away for free today. I ask nothing for it, no royalties. If you go
So,
out and
Dr.
you-
Art, when do we get to taste your hummus?
You get to take yours.
when we get to taste any of Jackie's recipes that she's been promising us.
Time
over the
out.
last 2 months,
I
love.
told you that is unfair. I told you we'll all pick one at a time. So there's not a smorgasbord going on. And I will bring it to the office. One at a time, one a week.
One a week. Okay.
Oh.
We're going to hold you to that. One a week is coming to the office. Jen left. I think one of you offended her. But welcome back, Jen.
It was
Are we
definitely
ready to
my
get
fault.
into some content?
Yes.
All right, Jackie, this week, cauliflower
Roasted
fried
cauliflower.
rice.
Roasted cauliflower hummus. I expect it.
Uh-huh. It's all right.
Okay, it's coming. Good. Let's get rolling because we've had an ongoing conversation here. And it started out, we basically asked the question, what happens to a human being from the time that they're a little child and all they see are sunshine and rainbows and the world is full of possibility, to the time that they become middle-aged, where for the most part, people aren't like that anymore. People have seen it all. They're jaded. They've experienced failures and hurts and ouchies of all types.
Ouch.
And you know, we don't view the world with the same rosy hue anymore.
Yeah.
So we got into that conversation. And then last week we were saying, you know, a couple of things. One is it's very important to be kind to yourself. A lot of times we internalize our struggles or the struggles of the outside world, and that affects us emotionally. So a little kindness helps, forgiveness helps. The other thing, though, that we came upon was this. If we can only remember, if we can only recognize who we are at our core, which according to Rabbi Jen, is we are eternal spiritual beings.
I need to hold on.
You need
Which I
props.
think most of us agree with. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Is there any disagreement with that we're not necessarily our bodies, we're not necessarily made of matter, but that within each of us there is an essence, and that's really more closely to who we are?
Yeah.
Any disagreements?
Nope.
No. Okay, good. So we decided that we're going to talk about this subject, which, as everyone knows, you're not supposed to talk about in front of polite company. So
No one-
I decided that we're going to take it on, yes, because none of us are particularly polite.
None of us are polite.
Yes. So let me ask you a question, just a little survey here. And without getting into specifics, I mean, I'd rather talk about commonalities between spiritual traditions than the differences. But does everyone here, my staff, who has some kind of a spiritual practice that they do relatively often? Show of hands? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Few of us do, few of us don't. All right. Now, let me ask you this. It seems to be some confusion between religion and spirituality.
Right.
So what to you is the difference? What do you think the difference is, and does it matter?
I think it matters.
You think it matters?
I think there is a difference. I think there's the belief and the practice. And it does matter because you can believe in something and not practice and resort to it in emergent cases, in desperate times.
You mean like when you want to pass a test as a student and you're praying to God? You're making deals, you're bargaining?
Yeah, it comes in so many ways, right? It comes in, you know, someone's sick. I promised this last time I won't do this if this. You know, desperate times calls for desperate measures, right? And who do you reach for? You always reach for something you believe in. And it's not like, it's like, okay, just this one last time. And it comes to you, to some people. And then there's others that practice on a regular basis. Whatever their routine may be, whether it's just a conversation, whether it be prayer, anything like that. And it's a matter of what you feel comfortable and how you exercise that.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make you any less dedicated, but I feel like you get a closer connection if you practice.
Right.
It becomes
Trisha,
more.
Trisha, what is the importance of having some kind of a spiritual practice in your estimation?
I feel like it holds on to like some kind of hope, like that you're looking for something to help guide you a little bit, you know? So for me, I'm not very spiritual, and I try to practice and be a good Catholic girl. But
Your
I
okay
don't.
dots are up.
Yeah, I necessarily don't think that I have to go to church and do that on a regular basis. I feel like for me, I can do that at home, and if you're can hear me at church, you can hear me at home. So I
Right.
feel like that to me is how I practice myself. Like, and I feel like talking out loud to somebody that can hear me, is keeps me hopeful.
When you say somebody, you mean another human being, or somebody
I mean,
perhaps
like
that's not
higher
considered a
above,
human being?
like,
Right.
somebody's listening and is going to guide me that way. Maybe not necessarily everybody feels that way, but that's how
Got it. So it kind of fulfills a need
Yeah,
to be heard and also to have some guidance
right. And
from
something to
some.
hold on to that maybe somebody's listening and going to help me.
Okay, good. And you mentioned the word hope as well.
Yeah.
Does the idea of living in a world where, this is it, when everything is only made of matter and it's all going to go to dust eventually, does that make anybody uneasy, or does anybody have
Well,
any
I don't believe
disagreement with
that.
Okay, well, just speak right up. What is wrong with that idea? I mean, a lot of people do believe that.
I believe that, there's another world beyond this world. When you die, you reconcile and you see your family that you no longer see anymore, and it's a whole new world. And
But
it's
how does that help you live in this world with all the travails and with the fact that we are trying to be healthy and to lose weight? What's the
because you have
connection
to
there?
believe that there's more to it, and that there's a reason why we're on this earth, and that God places every person on this earth for a reason. And I also truly believe, like, I mean, I guess Trish is right in what she's saying too, where, like, I have all these beliefs also, but I don't go to church anymore. Like, I used to literally go every day. My husband, I mean, not every day, every week. My husband used to call me Mother Teresa as a joke. But long story short, I mean, you have to believe in something, because if you don't, what is there? What is there?
Hmm.
There is something. There is a reason why we're here. And we're not going to just turn to matter and live in the ground and dirt and I can't believe that.
Okay, fair enough. Now, Thea, so I know that you're very fond of spending time in nature, right? You live by the beach.
Mhm.
You're kind enough to invite us over so we
Mhm.
can enjoy the beach as well.
Yep.
And pretty soon you're going to be taking a trip to go somewhere that's just magnificently beautiful. What
Mhm.
is it that you get when you're in nature that is for lack of a better word, of a spiritual nature?
So to me, the difference between spirituality and religion is that I don't. This is just me. I don't believe in really religion, even though I was born Catholic, and I believe there is, um, you know, a higher power. But
Uh-huh.
I don't. Organized religion just is not
It
something.
doesn't do it for you. You don't see the utility of organized religion.
Right. Right.
Got
So
it.
it's just. Spirituality to me means just being one with myself and connecting to the earth and mother nature, and it just that's when I'm outside walking on the beach, just it's connecting with me, because I the oneness, I can't, it's very hard to explain.
Understood.
Yeah. So the oneness is in me. It's inside of me. It's not out there. It's in me.
Got it. Okay. Hey, Jen, so as you know, as a coach, when we're dealing with people, we're starting out talking about kind of scientific things.
Mhm.
We're talking about food. We're talking about potentially exercise, how to get people into a fat burning state.
Right.
But yet, weight loss is often considered a journey. Inevitably, people find that their challenges lead them someplace else. It leads them to something mental or emotional, or even beyond that, what we're talking about now, spiritual. So how does it come into play with you as a coach with people? Where does spirituality lie in your practice?
So that's a very interesting question. I was listening to what everybody said, and I, first of all, think that faith is a very personal belief. It's a
Yes.
very personal system, and everybody's faith journey is different. I do agree. My dog is chiming in. I do agree that the big difference between, and I will get to your question. I'm just like kind of giving cohesive thought to what I just listened to. Really, really cool. Also, by the way. For me, religion is dogmatic, while faith is, as Jackie said, practice. So, you can live your faith on a daily basis and not even be a very practicing type of person. With regard to the journey, I think we attach way too much significance to the body. And once we start focusing on the body in a negative way, what you give your attention to grows, and that kind of includes your body. So I hear people saying, oh, look at that skinny blah 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 blah, whatever. So what you're doing is you're pushing away the ability to have that tiny body. Instead, what we should be doing is looking and admiring at the body that we want. And part of it is a faith journey. Part of it is
Well, wait, Jen, I want to stop you here because you hit on a fascinating hypothesis.
Okay.
Are you suggesting that if we didn't have so much attention on the body, if we didn't fetishize the body and our appearance, and our focus was on something larger, then naturally we would tend to be thinner and healthier?
I think there is a large part of that. I mean, it's one part. It's not all of it, for sure. So, some people are stress eaters. Some people are stress not eaters. Some people are late night eaters. Some people are early, but there has to be, for each individual, and it's not the same across the board, a certain triggering mitigating factor that will cause them to do less than what is necessary for the body. And I would pretty much lay out that when there is a spiritual decline, it manifests itself in the body. But we also have to realize that we are not just the body, that, when we're honoring who we are, then what we are, which is the body, becomes healthier as well. There are a couple of quotes that came to mind when, I forget who it was that said hope. It might have been Trisha. Like, two of my favorite quotes. One of them is Corinthians, 1 Corinthians 13:13, which is faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of those is love. And that includes self-love, right? When we can self-love, don't go crazy, guys. Jackie, we can.
Nothing. It wasn't me this time.
Focus.
We can extend that graciousness, that state of graciousness to other people. And then the other one, it talks about love. To love in spite of all is the secret of greatness. So, it's a partial quote, one from the Bible, one from L.R.H. Hubbard. So it's, I think it boils down to love. I really do. I think it all boils down. And I love hope also.
Well, you're also quoting England Dan and John Ford Coley in their famous song, Love is the Answer. So I would agree with you and with that wonderful 70s duo.
Yeah.
But I'm really fascinated by this idea of what you said. And you kind of, unfortunately, you gave it short shrift as you were covering a lot of ground.
I am.
But the idea of that what's happening with us spiritually is going to be reflected and is going to show up in the body.
Sure. So, I took a hard look recently at what's going on with my own body. I've told many of our clients that I'm not the typical weight loss client because I had not had a weight issue my entire life. A lot of people come to us and they've been struggling with weight forever. So I looked at what happened in my life that made me gain weight. The obvious was a late in life pregnancy. And then I was in a really dark place in my life. And I could not get back to baseline me.
Right.
And it manifested itself in overeating so as to be seen, because that was the theme. You don't see me. And I kept, I guess, without even realizing it, I was eating to be seen. And recently, I gained some weight. And I had to take a hard look at what was not going right in my life. And I started to make some changes to those things. And I think that naturally, you incorporate exercise and healthy eating, because when you address what's at the core of what's happening, why, eating and food and body are a manifestation of what's really wrong. I hear people say all the time, it's genetic, it runs in my family. And I kind of pause on that. And I'm like, bad eating habits run in families too.
Right.
And some of it's body structure. I get that. But, I think it's an overall out ethics of the individual. Like when you're not putting your own personal standards in,
Right.
then
Yeah.
everyone falls to
You're failing yourself in a sense.
100%.
Guys,
That's
practically speaking, here's a question. Practically speaking, in order to help people, right, we have this mission and we take it very seriously. We don't just say it. I hope we don't just say it superficially, because we're supposed to have a mission. Practically speaking, do we need to be spending more time on this stuff with our clients?
I think not. Religion. When you discuss religion in general,
And I don't mean religion. Listen, I am not trying to start a cult. I
Right.
don't want anybody worshiping at my feet. Well,
No,
I don't want everybody worshiping on my feet.
No,
Let's be
what I
clear.
was going to say is when you discuss religion or belief, they automatically think one or the other. So if you mention a belief system, almost
Right.
everybody's mind goes to religion. It's like, oh, well, I have my own, whether
Sure.
they believe or not or practice. It's a very strange conversation. So what we're discussing and what people really need to recognize is that believing in yourself, you kind of want to manifest what you want, right? You want to put it out there. You want to be successful in what you do, whether it be work life, family life, your health, any of those things. If you let bad habits, things that run in your family already cloud you and you think you're going in that direction, you're most likely going to go in that direction. So, we all have family that have bad habits. Myself, I have bad habits. So in the back of my mind, do I want to right those wrongs before they happen for my children because I'm recognizing them? Or is my daughter going to grow up and say, oh, well, you know what? My mom had to deal with this too. So it's something I'm going to deal with. They're accepting that before it even happens because they're not believing that they're large enough to change that.
So,
Right.
And I think that's what I think it really goes. I know they're different things, but they really coincide. Where believing
You're getting back to faith and the idea of, again, recognizing who we
I think
are and
that
how
has to be worked
powerful we are.
Yes, I think that's what has to be worked on because a majority of our clients come in with a goal in mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
They want to lose weight, period, the end. By all means necessary, they want to figure it out. But they're not all necessarily ready to take that journey.
Mm-hmm.
And with that comes the fact that they have to take ownership. That they really do have that control. They have to focus on that. They have to grab the bull by the horns type thing and say, I got this. I am bigger than my other problems. I am bigger
Right.
than what's happening out there.
Yeah. So, Jack, we do kind of address, at least I do. I can speak for myself. I can't talk about Liston and Thea. I walk in my own knowledge of who I am, and I walk in,
Yeah, totally.
and it comes across. I cannot separate out my belief in a higher
Mm-hmm.
me and a higher power.
Yeah.
My favorite phrase is the author of the universe, because it tends to be non-offensive. Because I don't want to bring religion
Yeah.
into the daily practice at work.
No.
However, there's no way to separate out the miracles and the mysticism of life from what we're doing. So when I sit down and I speak to people, it is always from that bent. It is always honoring who they are. And, I don't speak to religion per se, unless somebody brings it up in the
Of course.
conversation. However, it seems to resonate because people are looking for
It
something.
always has to. And I was going to suggest that even when we're doing these lives, it's always there.
Oh,
We
yeah.
use the word inspiration.
Yeah.
The word inspiration comes from, I want to say it's an old French word. and it has to do with breath, but it's more profound than that. The understanding is that there's a breath of life, that right, that life is breathed
that's
into
nice.
us by a higher power,
Yeah.
and that breath is always there.
Hmm.
So I just read a really interesting thing about the word Yahweh, how it had no vowels, and we put the vowels in it. It's the sound Yahweh. And every breath we take, quoting the police, or is it Sting, the police, is an homage to, you
Oh,
know,
that's cool.
I just,
Right. It's always there. There's a reason that the very word for the root word for inspire, for spirit,
the spirit.
has to do with breath, and there's an understanding of divine breath, which is fascinating. So theoretically, if we could live with every breath being divine, and we had that consciousness, and we were that aware all the time, then our problems, things like weight, would seem very small indeed.
Yeah, that's actually it sort of came to mind, the word awareness. So the truth is, it's not that none of us are doing this in our practices with the clients, but it's like you have to bring the awareness to them
Yeah.
that they're relevant. They have the ability. They really do have all of it. We're giving them the tools, but they're that vessel, right?
Right.
So that's really what it is, and it's not that in every which way, because every coach has their own way, right? And your own connection. It's
Right.
the same thing when I tell a story to a new client or a returning client. I've been there, but that's my story.
Right.
So everyone has their story, but they have to know that they can get there.
Yeah. And our job is not to tell them, it's to remind them.
Mm.
You said it very, very clearly. Like that the awareness has to come from with the awareness of the strength of who they are and what they are. You know?
Absolutely.
Right. We will never impose our understanding on our
No,
clients, but
absolutely.
we will do our best to
Yeah.
be there for them and to help remind them of who they are and
Who
what
they
they're
are.
capable of.
absolutely.
And on that note, this is a very large topic. We can go on and on. Maybe we will in the future. I'd like to hear from people, and it could be people who are on live right now. It could be people who watch us on YouTube or Facebook later. Was this conversation valuable? Should we be doing more of this? What did you get from it? I'd be really fascinated to learn that. So before we go, is there anything necessary or inspirational that anyone wants to say? And quick.
That's a loaded question. Now, you just totally caught me off guard.
It's a yes or no question.
Kick ass. You can. You have the ability to do it.
Good. Anything else?
Believe in yourself.
You said that last week.
Because I mean it. I keep repeating it because I believe it.
Okay, so that's the new mantra. All right, good.
Teamwork
So
makes the dream work.
teamwork makes the dream. Oh God, these sports cliches, even I get too many of them. All right, that's going to be it for today. We will see everybody next week. Have a fantastic week.
Have a great
Bye.
Bye, guys.